Coming up on today's show, the diminutive Volkswagen e-Up is back by popular demand as Europeans look for affordable, all-electric transport. The Hummer EV's official EPA efficiency submissions show that it's the most inefficient EV to hit the market, despite an impressive range, and a peer-reviewed scientific paper concludes it's unlikely that hydrogen fuel cell vehicles will play a major role in the world's transition to sustainable fuel. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's EcoTEC Roundup show from New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to EVs in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the worlds of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. As one of the smallest and most affordable electric vehicles you could buy in Europe, the Volkswagen e-Up was in high demand during its production. And when Volkswagen announced the end of the model in 2020, it was left with an order book more than a year long. Now, due to increased demand for electric vehicles across Europe and with the e-Up's planned replacement not due until 2025, the e-Up order books have been reopened, with production due to restart soon. With 32.2 kilowatt-hours of onboard battery capacity and 40 kilowatts of DC charging, its WLTP range sits at 258 kilometres, 160 miles, which is not exactly long-legged. But for city driving? In Germany, its low sticker price of €17,000 and change after incentives will gain it lots of customers. The US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has announced it is opening a formal investigation into unexpected brake activation by Tesla's Autopilot system. The phenomenon, known colloquially as phantom braking, occurs while cars are operating in autopilot mode and automatically apply the brakes when there's no reason to do so, something that's not only unpleasant for occupants of the vehicle, but also potentially dangerous to other road users. The agency says its preliminary evaluation will cover 2021 and 2022 model year Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y, after it received 354 complaints over the past 9 months. It says while some customers complained to Tesla, many of those customers felt the company dismissed the problem rather than remedy it. The preliminary investigation could ultimately lead to a formal recall of affected vehicles. Dr. Herbert Diess, CEO of Volkswagen Group, took part in a Reddit Ask Me Anything, aka AMA, this week. During the online event, he entertained the possibility of an electric pickup truck competitor to the Ford F-150 Lightning and gave the impression that the door was certainly open, hypothetically, for an all-new electric Beetle, stating that, quote, "If we wanted to do a Beetle EV, it would be much better than today's model, much closer to history, because it could be rear-wheel drive," end quote. Diess also confirmed that plug-in chargers coming on all 2023 model year cars and that ID vehicles with 77 kilowatt-hour battery packs will also get vehicle-to-home capability via an over-the-air update. On the subject of autonomy, he said that he believes LiDAR, or a system like it, is essential for Level 3 autonomous driving. Official paperwork submitted to the US EPA by GMC has confirmed what we'd all suspected. The all-new Hummer EV might be an off-road king, but it's certainly not energy efficient. In the filings, which are required as part of official certification prior to volume sales, we learn the official weight of the truck, 9,063 pounds or 4,111 kilos, with the 212.7 kilowatt-hour Ultium battery pack accounting for 2,923 pounds, 1,325 kilograms of that total weight. In terms of range, that massive battery pack means a combined 329 miles, 530 kilometres are possible, but at an efficiency of just 47 miles per gallon equivalent, that's 5 litres per 100 kilometres equivalent, it's not great. Its predecessor was a gas guzzler, so does this make it an electron gulper? Talking of the EPA, the all-new BMW i4 and iX EVs from BMW both got their official EPA ratings listed this week. The most efficient BMW i4, the i4 eDrive 40 with 18-inch wheels, manages 301 miles, 484 kilometres per charge, while the least efficient i4 M40 on 20-inch wheels just does 227 miles, 365 kilometres. It's a similar story for the iX, with the iX Drive 50 on 20-inch wheels managing 324 miles or 521 kilometers per charge, and the iX xDrive 50 managing 305 miles or 491 kilometers on the less efficient 21-inch wheels. As those figures got published, we also heard rumours that BMW's next all-electric car, the 5 Series-based i5, will come with 3 different variants, including an M-badged performance variant. Following the successful rollout of a trial program in the Netherlands, giving EV owners with CCS-compatible cars access to its supercharger network, Tesla has flipped the switch to allow all 36 supercharger sites across the nation to do the same. This not only makes Tesla's Netherlands supercharger network one of the largest EV-agnostic networks in the country, but it should also facilitate travel for Europeans looking to travel to Northern Europe from the UK, France, Belgium and Luxembourg. Yet, as EV YouTuber Bjorn Nyland detailed this week on his channel, some non-Tesla EVs could encounter parking issues when using Tesla's superchargers due to the location of their car's charging inlet. Because Tesla's charging cables are so short, those with charging doors on the side of their vehicle may have to park sideways on supercharger sites in order to get the cables to reach. This would ultimately block adjacent superchargers from access. For decades, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have been portrayed by some automakers as being the true and only answer to reducing global transportation emissions. Yet, as time has passed and battery electric vehicle technology has improved by several orders of magnitude, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have failed to keep up. And this week, a new peer-reviewed scientific paper published in Nature Electronics shows that battery electric rather than hydrogen fuel cell should be the fuel type focused on. Noting that hydrogen will play a, quote, vital role in industry, shipping and synthetic aviation fuels, end quote, the study says that the world cannot wait for hydrogen fuel cell technology to catch up to battery electric technology for land-based travel. Even for long-range trucking, where hydrogen fuel cell big rigs have claimed theoretical superior range, the study points out that regulations on trucker brakes in most countries mean that mandated 45-minute breaks every few hours could easily replenish a battery truck's range, enough to continue on its way. Mercedes-Benz has unveiled 2 performance variants of its EQE luxury sedan, the AMG EQE 43 and AMG EQE 53, offering 355 kilowatts and up to 505 kilowatts respectively. The performance sedans have specifications that fit their badge, with the highest spec AMG EQE 53 4MATIC Plus promising a 3.3-second sprint time in ideal conditions and a top speed of 240 kilometers per hour. That's 150 miles per hour. With twin motors providing all-wheel drive, both models have a 90.6 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack and 170 kilowatt maximum CCS charging capabilities. While provisional range ratings do exist, we have to wait for official range ratings and pricing. Watch this space. Chinese battery firm CATL has been eyeing the US for a number of years as a place to site future factories. But this week, a transcript of remarks made in China by one of CATL's top executives suggests that the world's largest battery maker is closer than ever before to committing itself to a US manufacturing facility. When asked if the company would be entering into the US, one executive said the country is a market in which CATL must enter, noting that it is a lot of interaction already with American companies, including established OEMs and startups. We already know CATL supplies cells to Tesla for Chinese-made cars, so it's no stretch to expect it to be eager to do the same in North America. Additionally, with the US government wanting to set up in the US as a leader in EV battery production, I'm guessing that CATL might find some benefits to establishing a factory there. That's if it can get around the various political hurdles that will stand in the way of it doing so. Mandatory SEC filings made on Monday revealed that Tesla CEO Elon Musk donated $5.7 billion worth of shares to an unidentified charity or charities in November last year. But Musk's philanthropic actions, the details of which are still shrouded in mystery, were overshadowed this week by Musk himself, whose lawyer, Alex Spiro, sent a letter to the original court which oversaw previous SEC cases against Tesla, asking for an audience to discuss the SEC's, quote, harassment of Musk and Tesla. The argument that Musk's right to free speech is being stifled. It doesn't help that Musk later agreed with a Twitter commenter who laid out a conspiracy theory claiming that Tesla was being targeted by government agencies, including the California DFEH, because it was a, quote, disruptor in the automotive industry, was upsetting legacy oil and big auto, and failed to make political donations or pay for traditional ads. Musk simply replied, exactly, putting him in close proximity to the utterances of Kenneth Williams as Julius Caesar in Carry On Cleo. If that wasn't enough, Musk then went on to tweet a meme comparing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to Adolf Hitler. A tweet which was later deleted, but nevertheless attracted a great deal of negative attention, including from the Auschwitz Memorial Museum. As more and more companies race towards the dream of all-electric flight, we're starting to see some really exciting progress in the field of electric vertical takeoff and landing. And this week, AutoFlight completed its proof-of-concept transition test flight for the Prosperity One air taxi. What's that, I hear you ask? A transition flight is what happens when an eVTOL craft shifts from vertical flight to horizontal flight, something that's considered one of the most challenging parts of the eVTOL engineering process. While the flight was carried out with nobody aboard, the test flight included travelling to an altitude of 150 metres, 492 feet, at speeds reaching close to 200 kilometres per hour, 123 miles per hour. Like all eVTOL craft, we are watching this one's progress take off very carefully. And finally, I grew up on a farm in the UK, and as such, I've kind of got a soft spot for the erstwhile Land Rover Defender. And yes, I am talking the original one, as well as its Series 1, 2 and 3 predecessors, not the new fancy pants one. Getting hold of an original Landy in the US is kind of hard because crash test standards halted new imports of them in the 1990s. And while there's a healthy, thriving cottage industry where older and imported Land Rovers get new leases of life in the US, getting one isn't cheap. But thanks to Florida company ECD, I now have even more reason to want one. An all-electric option for those with very deep pockets. You can now spec an all-electric ECD Defender with upwards of 200 miles, 321 kilometres of range, thanks to a Tesla drivetrain and a battery pack. While I don't like the interior, I think Land Rovers should be functional, not flashy. I think that I speak for both myself and Kate Walton-Elliott when I say, be still our beating hearts. And on that note, we are done for the day. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode. And if you haven't already switched, please do switch to New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. It is super easy to do so. And when you do, you'll help New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean, green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. We'll be back next week with more awesome content. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite. See you next time.